Hi, this is George ALGER with Our Ventura TV. And today we're going to be speaking with Toni Jannotta, who is a jazz singer by night, has a day job, and fell into being a documentary filmmaker, which is actually the subject of today's show. Welcome, Toni.
Thank you.
So, Toni, just as, to lay a little bit of groundwork here, let's even touch on the fact that you're a jazz singer. So, because you've done so much of it, you have a couple of CDs. You want to mention how many?
I have all of 3.
Okay.
And the first 2 were distributed by TCB Music in Montreux, Switzerland. And the third one, because I wrote most of it, I'm just distributing it myself through CD Baby. But I have 3 of them.
Well done.
Thank you.
All right. Now let's talk about your documentary filmmaking role in life now. So, first of all, how did you even evolve into that direction?
You know, I got a grant from the city of Ventura, which I used to make my last CD. And once you get a grant, you are then on the grant superhighway. And I got an email from the Ventura County Arts Council, and they said that they were taking applications for an Artist in the Community Partnership Grant. And so I went to the orientation, and it said that you had to solve a community problem with your art form. And I thought, well, damn, you know, I wasn't trying to help anybody. I was just on my road to looking for some money to make a project. And I thought, well, now what am I going to do? And so that was step number 1. And then I tried to figure out how I could put together what I did as a jazz vocalist as my art form with who, you know? And I thought, well, right down my street was this guy who scared me. He was homeless. He had a guitar in his back. He had helter-skelter eyes. You knew he had mental illness. And I thought, Then I started looking around, and I saw more guys or women with backpacks, and I saw guitars. And I went, somebody's trying to tell me something. So I got my courage together, and I spoke to Bob, who I now call my homeless angel Bob. And I said, is that a guitar in your back? He goes, yes, it is. And he was really, really nice. And I thought, okay, I'm going to put something together with the voices of people who've been homeless, who were homeless, who had experienced homelessness, with jazz, and I came up with Voices of the Homeless.
Nice, nice, wonderful concept. So, okay, you've told us a little bit about why you did it, but I also know you kind of got a little more passionate about it as you were evolving through it. So, speak to that change.
Well, Voices of the Homeless, it was a live performance piece that put together storytellers, as I call them. And I said to them, what do you want to tell the audience? Because we're going to back up the Etzel, we're going to turn on the lights, and we're going to do a show. So what do you want to tell the audience, since you're the expert, sadly, about homelessness? We all think all the homeless are the same. So what do you want to educate? How do you want to educate the audience? What do you want to tell them about the experience of being homeless? And I'm going to get a band together, and behind you, we're going to put music. So we're going to emphasize your story, and we're going to emphasize the issue of listening, because the jazz improvisers are going to be able to play their music only as they hear your story. So what do you want them to know? I'm sorry, what was the question?
Well, actually, that was very valuable info, but I was really looking at how you personally had changed from your initial concept of, yeah, this is another way to make money as an artist, but that isn't really your purpose at some point after that, you know?
No, because there I was looking for money, and all of a sudden I've become this homeless advocate who's had exactly 2 years of experience, 2.5 years of experience serving the homeless. I work with family to family now. I serve lunch once a month, and at the time that I did the live performance, my community partner was Project Understanding, and Todd Gaynor was my partner. He was the best partner in the world, and he was my go-to guy. And I changed. I changed as a person. I deepened, I became compassionate, I changed. And the only way I could make this work was to develop relationships with people who'd become homeless or who had experienced homelessness. And those relationships, they made me a better person. They made me a better listener. That's how I changed.
Wow.
And I continue to change in the last 2 years making this documentary about that performance.
Wow. Okay, so certainly the documentary features the performance, the concert.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course there's the, there's the actual interviews.
Yeah, there's background stories on the people. I weave together the interviews that I shot with their live performance. I interviewed the jazz musicians, because another one of my goals was to show the audience that there's more to jazz than what you think. So I'm trying to educate you both on the homeless experience, that they're not all the same, and about the jazz experience of what their special qualities are. And this is America's classical music, jazz. So I interviewed the homeless, I interviewed the jazz musicians, how they were touched by participating in this kind of experience, and I interviewed 4 members of the audience, how this performance affected them, if it had made a difference to them, if it had changed them. And I'd like to think it changed all of us. It's egotistical of me, but it certainly changed me.
My name is Todd Gaynor, and I have been involved in social services and assisting those who are homeless for over 10 years. So I'm always intrigued when someone comes up with a new and creative way of promoting the social discourse regarding the issue of homelessness in our society. My first thought was, are you for real? Followed closely by, what a cool idea.
Hello, everybody. Well, seems like I've been working all my life. Well, it's like this. We all have to eat. Everybody needs to sleep. Everybody wants to stay warm. You know. Just fighting over having more and more and more, you know. How much, Donald Trump, how much can you have till you're happy? How much can you have till you're happy? Amen, love y'all.
Hearing these stories made me very aware of these individuals and what they have been through. You see homeless people all the time, but you don't always get an opportunity to hear what they're about. You know that they're hurting, but we don't get to know where they came from. And this really gave them a lot of value, and it gave me a lot of respect for them.
Hi, my name's Danny Randazzo, and I volunteer currently with Family to Family, which is a nonprofit organization. It's a faith-based organization that feeds the hungry of Ventura County. I learned about Voices of the Homeless through this organization and went to the performance, taking 2 extremely different genres, one being homeless and one being jazz music. I mean, to put those 2 together, you know, who knew?
The Voice of the Homeless was a story being told of why are they homeless? How did this happen? What took them there? What are they like? What's it? So that gave me that experience, that chance to try to paint what I thought worked with that. I tried my best just to be in that moment only. Never mind whatever I did in the past or whatever I might do in the future. This moment, this guy is talking about his homelessness, his living on the street. What do I hear from that? What do I feel from that? What color is that? What shade is that? What, you know?
Yeah, my self view, you know, the person I see in the mirror. Sometimes I don't think about it, and sometimes I feel really uncomfortable about having been out on the street in the world, in my car, whatever. And I hear other people talk about the homeless. There's such a disease on society. Well, they could be anybody. You know, I have to remind myself that that inner dialogue doesn't reflect everything.
Good. And so you've certainly commented on how it's made you, you know, it's changed your life in terms of this is, you're now advocating for the homeless, and of course your experience and insights into that matter has given you a new dimension of homelessness.
And a new dimension of me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A question I have though is has this experience evolved any sort of solutions to issues of homelessness?
You know, Todd hit the point really well in the end of the documentary. He said, you know, of course I've been editing this for 2 years, or 1 year. He said, it's a very complex issue, homelessness. It needs more light shed on it, and the only way we're going to find any solutions is by listening. If we think that we have the answer, and then we're trying to impose our will, because most of us, at least I thought I knew who the homeless person was, and I don't. I have a better idea now because they've educated me. So the only way, but do I have any solutions? No, I don't, but I do encourage listening to them and ask them what their ideas are, because that's how we'll find our way out of all of this stuff, is by listening to each other. So the umbrella of the documentary is to listen.
Good, nice words. Coming back to those that are homeless more directly, so how would you characterize the broad array of different types of persons? I mean, you mentioned that some are mentally ill. Okay.
And you know, I wasn't able to touch on that in the documentary.
Okay.
If I was ever to make another one, can't imagine, but if I was ever to make another one, I'd like to make it on what we don't know about mental illness, because there's a lot of people on the street who are mentally ill. And that's hard for everybody, those who are homeless, those who aren't homeless. It's just such a huge issue, and I don't know enough about it. But there's a range of people that are homeless. Some live in their cars, some live on people's couches, some live in tents, some live on the street, some knock themselves out just so they can get to sleep. And also what I've learned over time is that if they're out there too long, they can make the adjustment.
Meaning the adjustment to living in the street sort of permanently.
Permanently.
Wow.
So it's an issue that's over my head. All I wanted to do was shed some light on it and shed more light on jazz music and jazz improvisers. Music can be a real healing tool. And personally, I had the feeling that's where I was going with music. That's where I was going next. So I don't know if that answered your question. There's a lot. Homelessness is such a huge issue. All I did was touch on in the documentary these 4 different people to talk about it and to talk about their experience and to share with whoever the audience will be for this documentary, to give them a little insight about what it is from them, not an actor playing the part of a homeless person, but from in their own words, going to the source.
Good. So we're about out of time now. But is there any summating message you would like to convey regarding either the homeless or this project?
I want to say something quickly about the jazz musicians who played in this documentary, who allowed me to interview them, who improvised all the music. It takes a certain level of musicianship to do this kind of music, and that does not mean that they are better than anybody else. But I do wish that that more people could know that jazz is an open-minded form. It's not so closed off as it's presented sometimes. So the summation is, I guess what it says at the beginning of the documentary, that we're trying to show that not all the homeless are the same, and jazz is more than just a standard tune.
Nice words.
Thanks.
So if someone would like to get in touch with you, what would be a good avenue?
I have a website. It's ToniJannotta.com. I'll spell it ToniJannotta.com. And I'm going to be doing more. I have a blog, Voices of the Homeless, at blogspot.com. And then my email is TONIJ@ToniJannotta.com. Anybody contact me, be great.
Well, good.
Thank you.
So thanks for stopping by, and well done, and congratulations for
Thank you.
completing the documentary.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so this is George ALGER signing off for this segment of Our Ventura TV. Until we see you again.